Right. Hi, everyone. Today we're going to be learning a little bit more about the street trees in New York City using NYC Park Street Tree Map. And to begin with, a bit of an overview on trees in New York City. In NYC, there are 867,775 trees mapped in New York City. So what you see here on your right are all the trees that have been mapped so far by New York City parks. And there are 543 species discovered so far in New York City. And that's a lot of species. If we go into the next slide, we'll see what type of trees you might find near you and across the boroughs. In the Bronx, there are Japanese Silvoca. In Manhattan, there are thornless honey locust. In Queens, green ash, which is actually one of the native trees in New York City. And in Brooklyn, the ginkgo tree, which you might find in a lot of different parts of NYC. And in Staten Island, you might find the London plane tree. So, why do we care so much about New York City street trees? Well, we're going to discover why by looking at one of the trees here in New York City, the American basswood or Tilia americana. To To begin with, stormwater interception. This singular tree intercepts 5,030 gallons of water. And when stormwater is intercepted, it means less floods in New York City. It means less stormwater can enter our streets. Another benefit of this tree, again, this one tree, is that it conserves 1,978,000 kilowatt hours of energy, which equals to $250 about. And how does it conserve energy? Well, during the summer, the shade from the trees helps keep us cool when we're outside. And during the winter, the trees help break cold winds, which means that all that cold wind that would be hitting you and your building and your house gets blocked by those trees, making it a little bit warmer so that you don't need to keep on the heat as much. And of course, air pollution. This one tree removes 4 pounds of air pollutants every year, which is about $22. And those pollutants, which would be harmful to us, get removed and filtered by the tree. So in total, this one tree is saving us $351 every single year just by being a tree. But if we take into consideration all of the American basswoods in New York City, there's a lot of big numbers there. And in total, 1,626,656 are saved by all of these 17,263 trees. And all we have to do is maintain them. And they're saving us New Yorkers a lot of money and they're giving us a lot of environmental benefits. And now I'm going to pass it over to Bicol to talk about native plants in New York City.
Thank you, Rodney. I'm going to talk about something about the native plants of New York City. But before reaching there, I want to talk about the ecosystem. What is ecosystem? As you can see from the pictures of the ecosystem, the sunlight, heat, temperature, termites, plankers, protozoans, everything that interlink with each other. Like an ecosystem or ecological system is a system that environments and their organism form through their interaction, as we can see from the picture. Now, talking a bit about the flora diversity, because today we are going to talk about the street trees, native plants, medicinal plants. So, what is flora diversity? It's not only about the trees. The flora diversity is the combination or representation of all types of the plant species, from shrubs, herbs, trees to the ferns. So, floristic diversity is the variety in the genome of all flowering plants, as well as variety at the species and ecosystem level. As I already said you, what is ecosystem? So talking a bit about the benefits of the plants or the native plants, as Rodney has already clarified a bit of the benefits of the plants and street trees. Now talking a bit more in a broader perspective, the most important benefits of plants is it helps in reducing the global warming because it intakes the carbon dioxide and releases the oxygen. So it's the proper source to intake the carbon dioxide from the environment. And another important benefit is it reduces the evaporation rates from the land surface as there will be the shades. So it helps in keeping the place like our urban environment, New York City, cooler than being hotter. And as well as it provides the habitat for the birds and insects, and it gives protection from the frost also. When there is a frost, then the leaves from the trees, branches from the trees helps in protecting from the frost, and it provides the shade as I already said you already. And another important benefits is it has an aesthetic value. When we see the green as spring is coming towards, you can see a lots of blossoms, flowers, greeneries. You will find your eyes really good when you see that type of things. And as Rodney said earlier, it acts as a windbreaks. When there is a lots of winds, the branches, the strong timber of the trees acts as a windbreak. And another important benefits is it provides food for lots of different animals including bees, birds and animals. And it provides food for bees, and bees are really important creature for us for pollination, so trees are important for that thing also. And as Rodney already said about the storm water, helps in reducing the erosion because the tree trees and plant species helps in infiltrating the water towards the ground than surface runoff. So it helps in stopping or reducing the erosion. To talk about the native plants, as you can see from the pictures, the native plants of New York cities are like mountain laurel, sassafras, and red maples, as well as green ash. What is native plants? A native or indigenous species is the one that occurs in the particular region, ecosystem, and habitat without direct or indirect human actions. Species native to the North America are generally recognized as those occurring on the continent prior to the European settlements. So let's talk about some native species of the New York City. As New York City has lots of parkland, more than 30,000 acres of parkland, but considered natural area of parkland is around 10,000 acres in New York City. And in that 30,000 acres of parkland, there are more than 2,029 species of plant species in New York City. And among those 2,029 species, 1,359 plant species are native species in New York City, which is really a lot. And I have to say one thing, there are some species which are critically endangered in New York City. What does critically endangered means? If we don't protect those species or conserve those species, right now they are in verge of being extinct, and the next generation will not be able to see those species again in their lifetime. So it's our duty, our responsibility to protect those native species of New York City. So after completion of this whole presentation, you will go outside. When you see the native species, then you have to take in fact in your mind, okay, we have to conserve these species, we have to do something for these species. And there are around 6 plant species which are critically endangered in New York City, which I am going to show you in the photographs. Like American chestnut is one, Bayer's adder's mouth orchid is another, green ash is another, and white ash, black ash, and blue ash. All the 4 ash species are in critical endangered in New York City. So we have to protect them as we can. And talking a bit about the medicinal plants, not of the New York City only, but there are lots of the plants which have medical importance and we can use it in our daily lives, but not through the foraging, but through the planting in the home gardens or community gardens or in the parks. We don't want to forage the natural areas and disturb their habitat where they are growing. So there are 95 plant species which has been used as a traditional medicine in New York City. And one of the study has shown that more than 57% of the people have admitted to a herbal use at some point in their lives for the cure of different illness, as well as 25% of the asthmatic New Yorkers have reported the herbal remedy use. So there are lots of importance of the plants, not only for the trees, not only for the shrubs, but there are different other varieties of plants which we need to protect and which we need to conserve. These are some of the non-native plants, but already naturalized for the New York City, and they are not considered as invasive species because they don't harm any native species like shepherd's purse, clove flower, cornflower, which also act as medicinal plants. So, how can we take care of the street trees and native plants? I want to go through it, or Rodney, will you go through it?
You can go through, Bikal.
Thank you. So what you can do from your perspective, what you have to do in future or after finishing this presentation, you can be a street tree steward by watering the street trees, removing the weeds from the street trees pits because the weeds kills the plants, the perennial plants, biennial plants, as well as small saplings of the trees. So we have to remove the weeds in between to keep the plant protected, and cleaning the tree pits by removing the litter because there are lots of waste in New York City as we are in urban city, and lots of the people produce lots of the waste, so there are lots of waste in the tree pits, so we have to remove those litters from that side. Otherwise uh, the direct sunlight to the saplings will not be reached because of the litters or the waste, as well as the water will not be reached because of the plastics that are in the trees pits. So we have to clean those pits. And another thing you can do is planting plants that benefits the street trees like perennials, annuals, and bulbs, and creating signage informing the community about the issues of litter and other harmful waste in street tree pits. I think this is the most important thing for us because lots of the people don't know what's the importance of the plants, what's the importance of the street trees. So we have to aware them what's their importance and why do we need to conserve and protect them. So this we can do from our side. We don't have to make a big hoarding, but small pamphlets or something like that. We can just create awareness in our communities, in our household, how we can protect and why do we need to protect those things. And why do we need to protect the street trees? What happens if we don't take care of our street trees? That's the most important thing. Floods are more likely to occur. Compact soil in the tree pits, so less water infiltration. When there is a compact soil in the tree pits, then there will be more surface runoff. So there will not be any infiltration inside the groundwater. So there will be more storm water in our city, and surface runoff will be more, and we'll face much more floods, as well as areas with the less tree coverage have higher temperature. As Rodney and I already shared when we were describing about the benefits of the trees, when there is a trees, there is a shade, so it cools the place and decrease the temperature, as well as there is lots of oxygen and winds also, so it decreases and maintain the temperature. When there are less tree coverage, then it's probable to be a bit hotter in that area, as we can see in the New York City. If you go towards the concrete areas in the Manhattan where there are less parks, less street trees, then we might feel a bit hotter than those cool areas of Staten Island where or Central Park where there are more trees and park areas. And another important benefits or important harm if we don't take care of the street trees, our air pollutants will end up in the air and in our bodies instead of being filtered by the trees. This is the important benefits of the trees if we save the trees because their leaves, their branches, they filter the pollutions from the environment and keep us safe and maintain the air pollutions, reduce the air pollution. So we need to conserve and protect the street trees as we can. So Rodney,
And
can you take it now?
yeah,
Yeah.
and now that you've learned about the benefits that street trees in New York City in general can have, it's now time for you all to explore your own neighborhoods and around your school to learn about the trees in your own area. So you're going to be using the handout that your teachers will be providing you with, as well as the tree map by New York City Parks to find out about the local benefits that your trees provide. And these can be how much air pollution is being removed, how much water filtration is occurring in those tree pits, as well as how much energy is being saved in your neighborhood or in by your buildings by these trees, as well as the native plants. So as you go out, be safe, have fun, discover so much more about the plants in your area.